This is everything in our camera bag. When Jenna and I started A Couple Travelers about 5 years ago, we wanted our videos to be a balance of information, entertainment, but also really high production quality. And so with high production quality, over time, we've developed quite the inventory of camera gear and gadgets and other accessories that go into making all of these videos on YouTube and across social media as well. So to kick off 2025, we thought we would start by opening our camera bag, showing you all the gear that we have, talk about how we use it in our videos, and hopefully it'll inspire you if you have a YouTube channel or if you're thinking of starting one, what kind of goes into it from a technology perspective. Obviously, our gear is looked at through the lens of travel, so if you're just an avid traveler and want to have some good gear for taking just personal photos and videos and just capturing content of your vacations, this video will also be helpful for that. All of the items in this video today are in our Amazon storefront, which is linked in the video description below. So if you are thinking about buying one of these items for yourself, it would be great if you could buy it through our storefront because that helps out our channel and we greatly appreciate it. And just a note on these items, we have been using some of them for a couple years, so they might be discontinued or there might be a newer version out. But what we've done on the Amazon storefront is linked the newest version there when you go to check it out. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll be talking about some small, affordable, but really valuable items that we always travel with. But let's get into the gear. We'll start with the workhorses of A Couple Travelers, which are our cameras and lenses. I'll be using some photography terms in this section, so if anything is unfamiliar to you, just leave us a comment and I'll be happy to answer any questions. We specifically use the Canon M50 and Canon R50. The M50 is actually what we're shooting this video on right now. It was the first camera that we bought as A Couple Travelers. It has been with us since day one. And this is the Canon R50. We bought this prior to our Alaska cruise in 2023. These cameras are what's called mirrorless cameras. And essentially what that means is that the sensor inside the camera that captures photo and video content is smaller than other professional cameras, and that allows the camera itself to also be smaller and more portable. And you'll see that as a theme in this video as we talk about our gear. We're really looking for a balance of portability and quality. And the Canon mirrorless cameras, or any mirrorless camera for that matter, really strikes that balance. There are some mirrorless cameras out there that are larger and they come with more megapixels and the video quality might be a little better, but in the long run we found that to be pretty negligible, and the M50 and the R50 have been really great for us. We use these guys for pretty much everything. So if you've seen a resort tour, a room tour, a vlog, odds are the vast majority of it was filmed on one of these cameras. Both of these cameras are capable of shooting in 1080 and 4K. Just a note on the 4K for the M50 is that it does have what's called the crop factor on it. So if you are shooting in 4K, it's gonna zoom the video in a little bit. So if you are looking for a wider shot, you might not get that when shooting in 4K on the M50. These cameras are also great for photos. So photos that we post on Instagram, thumbnails that we use for here on YouTube, odds are those photos were taken with one of these cameras. These cameras have traveled many miles with us. They hold up really well. I've been a Canon guy my whole life. I bought my first Canon camera about 14 years ago. I used Canon cameras when I was the photo editor of my college newspaper, and they've always served me well. For lenses, the Canon M50 came with what's called a kit lens. Now this is a pretty standard multi-purpose lens that can be used for wide angle photos and videos, or some photos and videos that if you want them zoomed in. This is not the best lens in the world. It's a 15 to 45 millimeter f3.5 lens, but like I said, it's all around great for vlogging, just everyday use, B-roll photos, things like that. We use this all the time. Since it doesn't have the best aperture at f3.5, we also have the Canon 22mm f2 lens. This is great for indoors or low light situations. And we're actually shooting on another lens, the Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. This Canon lens and the Sigma lens are both great for low light situations. So anything at night, restaurants indoors for food B-roll or dining reviews, odds are we are taking those photos and videos on one of these two lenses, and the other lens is primarily used for vlogging and things like that. And for the R50, we also use the standard kit lens that came with it. This is the 18 to 45mm f4.5 lens. So great for some wider angle photos and videos and some zoom shots as well. We are getting another lens for the R50 at some point here in the near future, probably the Sigma 10 to 18 f2.8. That'll be our new everyday lens for resort tours, room tours, vlogging, things like that. So you guys will see that being used in videos in the near future. This lens setup has been really great for us. It's a good variety. We also have some older lenses that I got with my first Canon camera that I bought, the Canon Rebel T1i, and those lenses still hold up over a decade later. What we did is we just bought an adapter to be able to use it with our cameras today, and the lenses still work great. As of January 2025, when we're recording this video, the Canon M50 has since been discontinued by Canon, but you can get some packages on Amazon still for around $600 to $700. It has essentially been replaced by the Canon R50 right here, and you can get this on Amazon for about $800. Next, we have our GoPros. We've had 4 of these over the years, but these are our 2 most recent ones. We have the GoPro Hero 7 Black and the GoPro Hero 10 Black. GoPro pretty much comes out with a new camera every year. So if you go to look for a GoPro today, you'll find the GoPro Hero 13, but both of these being years older, they still work great. If you're unfamiliar, GoPros are action cameras, so they're used in a wide variety of situations. You'll see in a lot of the GoPro advertising, a lot of athletes, be it mountain bikers, snowboarders, skateboarders, they kind of strap them on their helmet or in their body, and they get a lot of cool shots. They're really well built, really solid, so they're great for those use cases. If you drop it, it should be okay, but I wouldn't recommend that. But these cannot be underestimated for travel because they are also fully waterproof for up to 10 meters, at least the Hero 10 is. So if Jenna and I are traveling and we're in the ocean or a pool, and we don't want to use the M50 or the R50, and we want something to use in the water, this is when the GoPro comes in handy. We have a couple accessories for the GoPros, the first of which is the GoPro handle. This floats, so if you're in a pool and you don't want to hold it, it could just float in the water right next to you, which is great. And it also has a hand strap. When we're in Grenada, we did an excursion in an open air Jeep, and at one point they asked everybody on the excursion to stand up in the Jeep while it was driving. So the video I got of that was just with the GoPro, and I felt okay using it because it was strapped to my hand. And that would be a situation where I wouldn't want to hold one of the, $700, $800, Canon cameras, but you still want to capture the moment, so the GoPro is absolutely perfect in that scenario. So you can attach the GoPro to this handle and you could use it while you're walking around. And then we also have this suction cup accessory. We've used the suction cup mainly for time lapses, so we'll attach it to the window of an airplane or a hotel and kind of get those kinds of shots when the GoPro will stay in one location and you just let it record. It's fully adjustable, and all of these accessories are linked in our Amazon storefront as well. And then we also have this flexible tripod. You probably have seen these around, but all of the legs are able to be bent and kind of wrapped around something. So if you're on Living with the Land in Epcot, for example, and strap it to the railing of one of the boats and get some shots while you're sailing along the attraction, you could do that. We've put this on catamarans before. So it's just great in a variety of situations if you want to just place the GoPro somewhere and have it record while you're off doing something else. There are some other good action cameras out there like the DJI Osmo Action series, but GoPro was really the pioneer in this category, and we've always loved their products. The GoPro Hero 10 is in our Amazon storefront, and you can get one for yourself for about $250. Next is the newest member of the Couple Travelers family, our drone. This is the DJI Mini 4 Pro that we bought just a couple months ago and used for the first time on our vacation to SANDALS St. Vincent, and we'll link those videos below so you can see some of the shots that this guy gets. They are awesome. DJI is hands down the best brand of drones out there, so if you're thinking of getting one for personal or professional use, we would highly recommend DJI. In the United States, any drone over 250 grams needs to be registered with the FAA. The DJI Mini 4 Pro comes in conveniently at 249 grams, so it's, as you can see, very portable, really easy to travel with. When we first opened it up, I was actually kind of surprised with how small it was, and I was a little bit worried that when we were using it, it wouldn't do well in windy conditions, but it handled itself really well in St. Vincent. There are some older versions of the DJI Mini lineup, such as the Mini 3 Pro. The Mini 4 Pro is obviously the newest. It comes with features such as obstacle avoidance, so it has these sensors on the front, the back, and the bottom. And so if the drone is flying and it senses that it's gonna possibly bump into something, it'll navigate around it. Drone videography looks so great because all drones use a gimbal. You can see it on the front here, and the camera on the DJI Mini 4 Pro specifically can shoot in portrait and landscape. So if you wanna get some videos or photos for social media, you can just hit a button on the app and the camera will change its orientation for whatever kind of photo or video you wanna get. Now to fly the drone, you obviously need a controller. This is the DJI RC-N2, and to control the drone, you use the DJ Fly app on your phone that you plug into the controller. This is a little bit of an older model. We've really liked it though. If you want a controller with a built-in screen, DJI does have the DJI RC2 controller that you could get, and you don't need to use the app on your phone. The drone will be controlled all through the controller and the screen that's built into it. Even though we've only had the drone for one vacation so far, I can't wait to use it again. It really got us some great photos and videos, and as you can see, it's small, so it's really easy to travel with. Again, we're looking to balance portability and quality for all of our gear. So for accessories for the drone, we have some extra batteries, which are highly recommended. The Mini 4 Pro has about a half hour of flying time, weather conditions pending. And we also got the two-way charging hub, which could charge the batteries, and it also could charge other things as well through the battery in the actual hub. The Mini 4 Pro does come with a battery, but if you want any extra batteries, these are available for about $65, and the charging hub is about $49. And the package of the DJI Mini 4 Pro with the DJI RC N2 controller is available on Amazon for about $800. Now we have our microphones. We recommend these because as opposed to using the internal microphones on a camera or an iPhone, they produce a lot better audio quality, especially when you're in a noisy environment like a theme park and you're doing a vlog. So when we are vlogging in the theme park, this is the microphone that we use. This is the Rode Video Mic Go. This is what's called a shotgun mic. So the microphone is one directional and it captures audio from where the microphone is pointing. So if you're standing behind the microphone, it'll get some of that audio, but if you really want the best quality, you should be standing right in front of it. I just switched out the microphone on the camera so you could hear how it sounds. If I were to walk around the camera, I wouldn't sound as clear, but since I'm sitting right in front of it, it should be capturing the audio pretty clearly. But if we're doing a video like a resort tour or a room tour where the camera is mainly pointing away from us and we still want good audio, we'll use our lavalier microphones. You should be able to tell a difference in the audio quality when I switched out this microphone for the lav mics. These are the type of mics that if you see anybody on a talk show or a news anchor doing a broadcast, any microphone that's pinned on a lapel or a collar or anything like that is a lav mic. Since the microphone is on you, it's able to capture your voice much more clearly. And what's great about these microphones that we have, which are the Rode Wireless Go 2s, is that they transfer the audio wirelessly from the microphones to a receiver that's attached to the top of the camera, and then there's a wire that connects the receiver directly into the camera itself. If you are using a microphone like one of these with a professional camera, you want to check your camera's audio settings to make sure you're switching it from the camera's internal mic to an external mic. Like I said, the Video Mic Go is primarily used for vlogs and settings where we're kind of walking around and talking to the camera. When we're doing talking head videos like this, we'll obviously use the lav mics, and when we are recording any room tours, resort tours, we are also using the lav mics. They're great for doing recording outdoors because they come with a little wind filter as well. The original Video Mic Go has since been discontinued by Rode, but you can get newer versions of this starting for around $76 on Amazon, and the Wireless Go 2s are available as a set for about $229. The next category of gear is one of our more complicated ones, gimbals. Gimbals are pretty expensive and they're also kind of large, so you can see we need to travel with it in a pretty big carrying case. And while we're on the topic of cases, any of the gear that we've shown you today has a case to go with it. So this is the case for our drone, the controller, the drone itself, the charging hub, the batteries all sit in here, so it's well protected when traveling. This is also fully waterproof, and the case is also linked in our Amazon storefront. This is the case that the Wireless Go 2 mics sit in. This is the case that the Wireless Go mic sits in. This is our case for the Sigma lenses on the camera. I think you could see what I'm saying. It's better safe than sorry when you're traveling with expensive equipment. The cameras themselves and a lot of the chargers, batteries, cords, other miscellaneous accessories, they all live in that camera bag, but then when we're actually walking around a cruise ship or a theme park or a resort and we don't want to have the whole bag with us, we have smaller bags for the cameras themselves that still protect them while they're in a backpack. But back to the gimbals. I mentioned gimbals when we were talking about the drone, but in case you're unfamiliar, gimbals are basically a tool to capture really smooth video regardless of which way you're moving the camera. Most gimbals come on a 3-axis, so an X, a Y, and a Z axis, and they use a series of motors to keep the camera oriented in one position, so that way if you're walking on bumpy terrain or moving the camera around a lot, it still gives you really smooth video that looks really professional. The gimbals that we have are available to consumers, but for any movies or TV shows that use gimbals, those are much more expensive, much more higher end and professional, so these are a tool that's used across industries with cameras. The largest gimbal that we have is this guy here. It is the DJI Ronin-SC. It's able to hold about 4.4 pounds. And like I said, it's one of the more complicated things to use because before you can actually start using it and capturing that smooth video, you need to balance it and calibrate all of the motors. And to do that with the camera, it takes a little while. So you need to dedicate some time to really learning how to use this and using it well. But when you learn to do that, the payoff is really great because you can get some really cool shots. Having something like this when we're on the go as travelers is always not realistic. stick. We'll travel with it to get to our destination from home, but if we're walking around a ship or a resort, odds are this isn't with us because you can see the size of the case that needs to be transported in. So again, talking about portability, you have another gimbal. This is the DJI OM5, and this is specifically a gimbal for phones. Sometimes when we're traveling, there's a situation where we just need to get the shot, and if we don't have our large gimbal with us, we always travel with this in our backpack, so we know we have something that's a stabilizer and we're able to get some good content with. You can see the three motors here. You have the one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. That's the three axes of the gimbal, and then you have this piece that actually gets attached to your phone. So you clip this on your phone like so, and then you attach it to the back of the gimbal by way of a magnet. And then when you turn the gimbal on, you can see how it brings the phone to an upright orientation. And then as you move it around, it is very stable and smooth to get those really cool shots. So this is great if we're walking through a room for a room tour and we want to get like a quick 10-second shot of what the room looks like from like the entrance to the balcony, for example. And so that's great for something like social media and getting it in portrait mode. But if you just click a button, you're also able to switch the gimbal to landscape mode. So like I was saying, there have been situations where we didn't have the big gimbal, but had this and wanted to get a nice, stable and smooth shot where we've just taken out the gimbal, used our phone, and it's worked well in our videos. And it's just kind of fun to use too. This one is a lot easier to lug around, obviously, than a larger one. When we use that for resort tours, we're sometimes using it for 2 or 3 hours. It gets very heavy after a while, so can't stress the portability of this enough. It's a really great tool to have. And like we said, all the gear needs to be protected, so the DJI OM5 also comes in a carrying case. The DJI Ronin-SC is selling on Amazon for around $150 to $200, and the DJI OM5 is available in our Amazon storefront for about 140 bucks. And before I forget, we also have a couple tripods for our Canon cameras. This is the Manfrotto tripod. You'll see a lot of vloggers using this. We've taken a lot of our Disney vlogs holding the camera and using this, so you just fold out the legs like that, and then has a swivel head on top that just has one of the standard camera attachment screws on it. This is available for Amazon for about 25 or 30 bucks. And then we also have the tripod that we're shooting this video on right now. This is the Joby GorillaPod. It's a little bit larger. We don't really travel it with it too much. We have in the past. It has those flexible arms, kind of like this guy, but it's larger for the mirrorless cameras. So that's great if you want to use the camera in more flexible situations, and you can get that on Amazon for about 50 bucks. So that is the bulk of our gear. There's just so much stuff. You should see Jenna and I packing for these trips. It's always kind of like a game of Tetris, figuring out what we need for that trip and where it's going to go. Each trip is different. Do we need the drone? Do we need the gimbal? Do we not need it? So we always figure it out as we go, but it's all used to create some really great videos that we appreciate you guys watching here on YouTube. Now, for a couple small and affordable accessories that we always travel with that have come in really handy. The first of which is this camera backpack clip. This is probably one of the nerdier things that I've purchased. So this is basically used for keeping your camera available, but also keeping your hands free. So it clips around one of the straps of your backpack, and then if you push this button, it releases this plate that you attach to the bottom of your camera. Now, when this is on your camera, you could clip the camera into the holder and you lock it like that so you can't press it, and it stays attached to your backpack while your hands are free. This has been such a lifesaver in theme parks because when we're walking around, there's always something to take a photo or a video of. So I prefer to always have a camera out, but it's great to have your hands free at the same time for opening a door, taking a drink, having a snack, something like that. So this keeps the camera securely attached to the backpack, and it's available for whenever I need it. I was hesitant about buying this at first because I wasn't sure how secure the lock was. It's worked great for me. The camera has always been held securely. I will never go to a theme park without this. Now, for our next tool, you have a plate like this and you need a way to actually screw it in to the bottom of a camera. That's where this guy comes in. It doesn't really have a specific name, but it's more or less called a photographer's multi-purpose tool. It has a number of Allen wrench style tools on it at different diameters, and they more or less are universal to fit within a lot of these standard photography adapters and attachments. So for example, say I want to use the R50 and attach it to my backpack while we're walking around Walt Disney World one day. I will take the plate, kind of start screwing it into the bottom of the camera, and when you actually want to get it securely in place, you just take the Allen wrench tool on this, give it a quick turn, and now it's not going anywhere. And then this is obviously available when you want to take it off. You just unscrew it and you're good to go. There's even a smaller Allen wrench that kind of sits in the tool itself. And then there's kind of a flat piece at the top here that could be used in lieu of quarters. A lot of photographers and videographers for these kind of attachments and tools. We'll carry around coins in order to tighten some of these things, but this has that piece right on the top, so you don't need to worry about any loose change. Now, once we've used all of this gear to capture great photos and videos for YouTube and social media, we actually need to get it out there on the internet. And so if we're on the go, one of the ways in which we'll do that is by using this adapter. So this has a lightning cable on it at the end. You also can get it for USB-C for some newer phones, but basically you use this to plug into the bottom of your phone, and then in the bottom of the actual adapter, there are slots for SD cards and micro SD cards. So all of the cameras that we've shown to you today take either SD cards or micro SD cards. When we're out on a vacation and we want to share a photo or a video in real time, we could take the SD card out of the camera, put it in this, plug this into our phone, and then use Lightroom to edit the photos and then post it on TikTok or Instagram. This is not something I really thought of when we started The Couple Travelers, but it now comes with us on all vacations. Hopefully this has been helpful. As you see here, there's a lot of gear that we travel with. What you don't see are all of the other accessories that go into this. So charging cables and chargers and batteries and other just miscellaneous things. So if you want to see a part 2 that really goes into detail of literally everything that's in our camera bag, comment on this video and we'll be sure to put that out in the future. But in case you have any questions, happy to answer any comments. Like I said, feel free to check out all this stuff on our Amazon storefront. We would recommend all of these products. If you have a YouTube channel or you want to travel and get some really good photos and videos, all of this stuff would be great. But that is everything we have for today's video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on social media at A Couple Travelers. And until next time, keep traveling.